Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Adams Rite number 4430-09-00-01-IB. This is a sliding door. It's really a sliding door lock set. And the part number conspires to come up with the exact application of what it is that we're dealing with. And let's go over it now. So first of all, the 4430 series is a sliding door lock that is used on typically residential patio type doors. Doors that will be on a balcony, a patio, or doors that will go out to a lanai. And they are incredibly common in all of those areas that have residential architecture that features balconies and lanais, the coastal areas, especially the south naturally. We sell much of this material into Florida. They seem to be everywhere. They're California as well. Interestingly enough, even occasionally on boats, you'll certainly find sliding doors that have this hardware. Now, the part number itself means a very specific confluence of what this unit is. And the best way to approach the 4430, 0900, etc. that we are dealing with is to approach this from a perspective of reviewing the part number and then dissecting it. So, and by doing so, we'll review the item that we have. Now there is extended description information down below, which we'll get to. There are links down below this video that will allow us to review that. And let's take a look first at the document that's called Product Catalog. Let's start there. And let's go to page 2 and review the matrix or the table that's titled How to Order. So you're immediately going to see that we're dealing with a 4430, and that means that we are dealing with a unit that does not have a lock on the exterior. Okay. Now, the exterior trim is seen here, and sure enough, that exterior trim is without any sort of preparation for a cylinder. If it was prepped for a cylinder, and the molding itself is partially ready to take a cylinder, the part number would change to a 4431. That simply means that you want a key on the outside. Maybe not so important for a balcony, but a lanai you might want a key to be able to get in. So that exterior trim is going to feature a key cylinder. Let's go over the dimensional properties of this item as we go through it. That exterior trim is about 8 7/8 or so tall. The overall width of the item is about 1 1/4 inches. Okay. This is a complete lock, so it's going to feature everything necessary to get it installed. That's what the back side of this looks like. Textured inner area, finger grip, and it's made of plastic. Now, to go along with that unit, you obviously are going to need the ability to lock or unlock it from the interior side, to basically latch or unlatch it. Okay, and that's going to give us this unit that will have a vertical slide knob. That slide knob is going to connect to a tailpiece that's here. And that tailpiece will rock back and forth when it's worked to permit it to latch and unlatch the lock body, which we'll get to in a moment. Because that slide knob controls that tailpiece that's there, okay, it is, as a result, it's important to know the thickness of the door, and we'll go over that in a moment. That's important for two reasons: the length of the tailpiece, and then the length of the screws that you'll get are important to know based on the door thickness. That tailpiece will literally be longer if it's a thicker door. Now, so we've discussed a 4430. That means you'll get trim without a cylinder on the inside. The inside without a cylinder on the exterior. The inside is going to be the same 8 7/8 height. It's going to be the same width. Okay, 1 1/4 inches, 8 7/8. Now we're going to get into the -09. That is a direct reference to the lock body that is here. Okay, now that tailpiece is going to communicate right to the edge of the lock body, and while it's difficult to make it actually work when it's loose, when this is fixed in place, that tailpiece, the way that the back assembly travels, forces the tailpiece to basically, it's stuck pivoting over here, so it kind of just manipulates in that sort of orientation to, in effect, force the hook bolt to activate, to project or retract. The -09 specifically means that the body trim plate is radiused. If you were to imagine the feature here and here to be square, it would be a -10. That's the only difference. If you want them to to have a brushed stainless look rather than this zinc look, it would be a 09S or a 10S. You can also get this without the lock body, which would be a -00, and that would be only if you were looking at a pair of doors that may be biparted and you wanted the inactive side to match in terms of the trim on both sides of the door. This would change if you were doing that sort of function, because it wouldn't be a 4430 anymore, it'd be a 4432. That would give you the same look, but this would all be rigid. Nothing here would move. Okay. Moving to the next column in the matrix, style thickness. Now this is a -00 version. That means it's for the thin doors from 1 inch to 1 5/16 inches, and that's very common. However, when you order it, you actually have to measure the door thickness because it could be the less common 0.5 1 3/8 to 1 5/8, or it can be the even less common 1 3/4 to 2 inch, although it's possible. Again, this changes, as does the length of the screws. This is a -01 in the keying option. Forgive me. This is a -01 without cylinder. So if you're doing a 4430, you're going to have a 01 in the keying option. And then the IB just literally means individually boxed. So if you were to order 12 of these, you're going to get 12 of these boxes with one per box. It's how they come up with the packaging. So we have dissected the part number. Now you know how to order a sliding door key lock for any function, whether it be dummy, without cylinder, or with cylinder. The preparation of the faceplate and the type of material of the faceplate for the lock. You're going to know how to order it based on the thickness of the door, and then you're going to know how to order it based on keying options. Okay. Now, the balance of the product catalog will allow us to review the overall details of this item, which are also detailed down below this video. So the function of this is that this is similar to the 4189 or 4190 series sliding door locks from Adams Rite, except that those series feature metal plates. If you don't have plastic, then you certainly have metal type plates. That would be the 4189 or 4190. Same logic applies when building the part number. Economical units feature escutcheons molded of sturdy ABS resin, which is black, and according to Adams Rite, complements the look of aluminum door construction. Not recommended for wood doors, and that's really only because the installation of this does kind of depend on featuring itself snapping into the wall thickness of the material. Okay. I suppose it could be manipulated to work on a wood door, but it's not recommended because you have very little trim around the end here. Any sort of movement would force these plates to move. I guess you might be able to make it work if you had a really tight mortise preparation around the body of this trim. They make sliding door locks is the bottom line. Different product. Reach out to us and we'll help you with that. The operation of this feature is where both lock sets operated from inside by a simple up-down movement of the slide button, set flush into the deeply recessed finger pull. The lock mechanism, latching action unavailable, meaning they don't make them as self-latching, although there are self-latching type bodies that you can install on wood doors. And they're saying that a matching dummy trim is available. Vertical slide button projects or retracts the deadlock bolt. Key on the outside if you selected that 4431 series option. Those different thicknesses of doors in that range that we've discussed. okay, and does include the exterior trim, the interior trim, a lock body, and then the screws that are required. Now, looking at the additional information down below, let's take a look at the document called Parts Diagram. That's important because if you're looking for only a piece, you can order it by only the piece. Outside trim only, no problem. Inside trim only, no problem. Lock body, same thing. The screw packages, the same thing. The cylinder alone, if you have a cylinder version, the same thing. Some people will say, well, I can't figure out the parts, so just sell me a whole new lock. No, we'll help you figure out the parts. If you don't need to replace the entire lock, why would you spend the money? That parts diagram is there for that purpose. Now, you'll notice on the interior discussion where it has a couple of X's, that's the field where you indicate the door thickness, and it's inferred there as a variable, so that's what those mean. So you can buy only parts. There is then a link to the installation instructions, which are included with the hardware, and basically what they end up giving you is the size of the preparation, which is really under the document called template, that you need to create if you're doing a new installation. The size of the prep, the relationship of the prep in addition to the cutout in the edge. Let's take a closer look at that. So if you're doing a new preparation, a new installation, you'll want to look at the style preparation, and it gives you the height of the prep in the door and its width, and then also the dimension of 1.453 inch, so basically 1 7/16, a little heavy on that. That's a relationship from the center line of the bottom hole for the lock body to the top of that preparation in the face. So you're going to want to locate something. Locate this in the door, and then determine the placement of the rectangular preparation as a result of that hole location, right in the center line, or vice versa. The installation instructions are quite clear on all of that. However, all the data is there in that document. And we'll see about, because some of the dimension lines are missing there, it does make it a little bit more difficult to read. I'll see, by the time you're viewing this video, I'll probably have that replaced anyway. So, gives you the overall size of the plates, gives you the preparation of the face, gives you the preparation of the edge, tells you if you're doing a 10 or a 9, whether you're leaving it square cutout or a round cutout. The 09 is a radius cutout, which is probably about a 1/4 inch radius. Yeah, they're telling us only that the they're not giving us much information on that at all. Let's take a closer look. No, they're not telling us how wide that body is, which I don't see mentioned anywhere. Okay, about 7/16. We've got a 0.531 dimension, but what does that refer to? That might be the width. I probably would see that you would need a 0.531 thickness on the body. Sometimes their installation instructions are a bit sketchy. I like to have a caliper with the hardware before I cut anything so I can measure it accurately. Then there is the dimension from the edge of the door, and these lock bodies feature the ability to tailor the projection a bit, speaking about backset. By turning that screw there, you can physically retract and extend that bolt out a bit. Okay, so your backset, according to step 4, is going to be a minimum of 5/8 and a maximum of about 1 inch and 9/30 seconds, something in that range. Okay. Now, the balance of the information that is in the extended description goes over each of the pieces of the part numbers and defines what all of those are. So the bottom line is this is a lock that is used on a sliding door where you don't have a key for a relatively thin door, and is a very common item that you'll see in residential applications. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Adams Rite products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. If you have any questions on the Adams Rite, their part number 4430-09-00, or any other Adams Rite product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.